So Joe, did we figure out the lights?
Not to my knowledge. They were still off last night. I was just going to send Rich a email and ask him if he'd been by here to check on it.
Tamara, I guess we officially have enough for a quorum, is that correct?
Correct.
So I guess we can go ahead and get started. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
All right, I'm gonna call to order approval of the September minutes.
Couple problems.
Okay.
On the minutes, it says that I approved them and Gary seconded. On the listing, Gary's listed as absent from the meeting last month.
Okay,
So I believe Gary was here.
yeah, I don't know. I don't remember any of that, to be honest with you. So was Gary at the last meeting?
I feel like Gary was.
Yes, he was. I
He
have
was
him
for
down.
sure, because Mark and I and him met with Dale Curtis.
He was there.
And so Joe, what are you saying again?
In the minutes, Fran has him as absent from last month
Okay, all right. so
Right in
that
the
just
list, right?
on the list, yes.
Okay.
But that otherwise, I move to approve.
Okay.
Oh, Bill, you're muted. I think you seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
All
Aye.
opposed? Okay. All right, visitors' comments?
Have no visitors.
Good. Oh, where'd Mara go? She's back.
Sorry.
Crazy pen?
Yeah, I overslept this morning. I literally got to City Hall 2 minutes before your meeting started. So I'm still getting myself situated for the morning.
You got it. Okay. Old business. Old Webster activities update. Good luck, Mark.
Okay. Fran, do you want to kind of give that update?
Sure. We made the decision to move forward with the winter market based on the success of the sidewalk sale. And both days, we had several businesses that had actually had better sales on Sunday than on Saturday. And everybody did confirm that people were following the safety guidelines even outside. Everybody was wearing masks, etc. The Facebook page went up yesterday for the event. I also sent out an e-blast asking people to confirm, because I can't assume that you're gonna, plus there may be some that didn't participate last time. As of this morning, only 10 so far have confirmed, but I'm gonna have to just start reminding people that I need to hear from them. Jean is ready to update a new map.
When did you send out that email blast, Fran?
Yesterday or Sunday.
I don't remember
Saturday. I
seeing
have to
it.
look. I'll have to look.
I don't think I got mine. I don't think I got it. I could have missed it, of course. Usually me.
But we're following the same format as the October weekend.
I think the only thing you're going to run into is it can get a little chilly, you know, and yeah, so that's going to mean that day that I was doing beer tasting outside, it was windy and a little cool. It was manageable, but if I had to do it yesterday or today, I sure wouldn't be out there. So it's going to be a little bit trickier.
Yeah, just like years where open house was cold or
Yeah,
not.
well, the problem with the open houses is that, yeah, I guess I have to find a new stick to get to do with people. I've always done food and beer tasting, and other people have done the same thing with drinks and stuff. And you can't drink beer through a mask, or you can't drink anything through a mask. So that makes it tough if we move inside. But anyways, that's just my problem, not anyone else's. So, okay. So we'll look for that blast. And that's going to go in, I guess that's the same thing as the holiday planning update, I would assume. Anyone on that?
Okay, Fran, the holiday planning, is that the window decorating?
Well, I know that we haven't talked about the candles that we did last year. You remember the battery operated candles?
Sure.
We haven't talked about that. The window, we added a window decorating contest to the winter market just over the weekend. Just kind of a bragging rights kind of thing. But the subcommittees talked about taking advantage of everybody decorating for that to do like round 2 in December, but that hasn't really been sussed out how we would do that. Because you can't, you can't do a passport with a map and people stamp it and that sort of thing. So, but they want to take advantage of everybody being decorated for the winter market and continue that on into December with the window displays and all the decorations and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Imara has good news about decorations. I'm so excited.
So November 1, when they put up the banners, your new red bows are going up. They're already done and ready to go. And then my understanding is they did order, and it has come in, the garland to go around the poles. So all those should be good to go for November 1st.
Nice. That's good. Okay. Let's see, anything else? So in old business, we also, I didn't print it out on my agenda for some reason. Bill, we wanted to address the highway signs.
So I can answer that. Bill, you weren't here when we discussed this about a year or 2 years ago. MoDOT did away with the brown highway signs completely, like across the state. And their new option for us is that you get to have one of the little tiny squares, like you have to say gas station 1 mile away, that kind of thing. But you have to pay $3,000 for the sign to start with. And then you have to pay a yearly fee of $2,000 to keep that in place. And when that went to the city manager, he said, it's just not, that little square, in with all the other little squares wasn't going to do anything. And that expense just was not something we could put into the city budget at the time. And we discussed it back when MoDOT was saying that they were going to do away with them.
All right.
And then I think he also had, is that on, sorry, I also didn't print out my agenda because I was running late. We also had his other question related to lights on tops of buildings. I know we still need them back out to figure out what's going on with the lights on your buildings. I don't know, they seem to think that there's something else, whatever it is that's wrong. I did reach out to Regions Bank and I'm waiting for a call back from the right person. But it sounded like they were definitely wanting to do lights. So I'm gonna, once I actually get official permission, I'll get them on the schedule to get lights also across the street. If you have anyone else you want us to contact, we kind of had conversations about a couple other buildings. I know that Dr. Butler was not wanting lights. He'd originally wanted them, and then he wasn't happy with how our bulb maintenance has been going, and we have, we've had some issues with the older strands. The bulbs are starting to get wear on them, and so there were some issues with that. But if you know of any other buildings that you think, I mean, we could talk with Maury. Now that his building is completely renovated, he might want the lights on top of his. He didn't want to do it until he'd done his renovations. I don't know if anyone has any other thoughts, but I could contact Maury. I was in contact with him recently about some other stuff.
And did you bring it up with him? I'm sorry, Mara.
I didn't think about it at the time. He and I were focused on the Bank of America building.
I definitely think we should.
Okay.
So.
Where is that building? I'm not sure.
Across the street from San Jose and Sushi Station. The yellowish, he used historic tax credits and did some amazing renovations. If you get a chance, you should go check it out. They restored doors inside. They did the whole interior, brought it all up to ADA code, but also brought everything up to detail standards. He has some beautiful woodwork that he's done. He took me on a little walking tour with his phone because I haven't been able to go in and see it in person. But I can contact Maury about the lights.
Okay. Anything else in old business then? Okay, new business. Does anyone have anything? Nothing in new business? This will be a good meeting. All right, city update.
So I usually here give you an update on a bunch of things that are going on. I'll try to be quick and brief. So before the city council, they did have the approval of the amendment to the ordinance for Regions Bank across the street. So they are going to be allowed to have a coffee shop in the first half of the building. And then they have an office user in the back. We had already approved the look of the building. It had gone to Architecture Review Board. It had gone through permit review. So they will be able to start that as soon as possible. Also before the city council, we are working on code amendments to the parking code. That is continuing in a public hearing to the next meeting coming up. The next city council meeting has been moved. It's not on election night. It's now been moved to the next day on Wednesday. I don't have any other things on for city council, but at plan commission, they did approve at the last meeting a change to a planned commercial district for the area owned by Dave Sanders. It includes where Gorilla Street Food, Big Sky Cafe, and the assisted living facility. They wanted to clean up all their ordinances and do some potential small changes for the future. And so we worked with them to clean up all the ordinances that had gone from the 1980s through today. And they were approved, had final readings at Plan Commission, at City Council. At Plan Commission, we're currently working on code changes for residential. We're looking at some of the codes that allow how large a house can go and the overall size on a lot. We're getting a lot of complaints about the new houses being built to the absolute maximum possible and towering over the other homes next to them. So we're going to look into those codes. We're also looking into a code change that would allow for smaller size structures in the form of 2-family or townhouse type structures on our A4 zoning. The code currently allows for 2-family zoning. However, it limits it based on the location in the city. And right now those locations are limited to only a couple blocks. So the idea would be that you could potentially have a two-family structure that would be in the same massing as a house, which in some cases can go up to 2,600 square feet. You would be able to get to 1,300 square foot townhouses, continuing to keep the diversity of the types of housing and types of families that we have throughout the community, by keeping that housing diversity with the different size and formats of different types of houses. We did approve, going back to City Council, a code amendment for political signs on Election Day, so that the polling places, the rec center and the library, which are public facilities, technically you couldn't put signs on there on Election Day. So that has been updated to meet with the various codes in regards to how far they have to be from the doors, but then also keeping them out of the right of way. We have a few new businesses that I'm working with now. The location down on Big Bend of the old Subaru dealership, I have plans in and a request for Board of Adjustment for their property that's all the way at Laclede Station in Big Bend, which is a used car lot. There is a proposal for a new urgent care center to go on that corner. I'm also talking with, and can't give you any names yet, but I'm talking with someone about the other property that they own across the street from their main dealership, which is just a lot and a small 2-story brick building. I'm also working with a couple other potential businesses coming in, about a couple other spaces in Webster Groves. The Union Bagel is continuing to work with us on their location in the old Porter Paint location. Union Studio has opened up in Old Orchard, in one of the former Kruger Pottery spaces, and Dharma and Dwell should be opening in the next week or two there, as well as the annex to Frisco Bar Room is open. So I think that covers all the new ones that we're working with. We're working with a couple other small things, and then hopefully these others that I'm working with are going to come to fruition, and we might have another couple new businesses coming to some former locations in Webster Groves. I think that's everything. Sorry, I normally have a set of notes and I didn't have my prep time this morning.
Sounds like you did a pretty good job.
Thanks.
Okay, I guess, is there anything else? Mark and I and Gary, we met with the Chief of Police, Dale Curtis, to talk about the diversity and the record of the police pulling over minorities at a much higher rate than white people. And Dale Curtis is incredible. I mean, he knew exactly what we were there to meet for. He explained all why the numbers are the way they are. They're trying to get those numbers down. I was 100% satisfied that there is no racism in the reasons. Although the numbers don't quite show it, there are reasons why it is. Minorities generally don't have incomes where they can get their tags replaced on their cars when they need to, get taillights fixed. They're sometimes can't pay fines, parking fines if they get them, because they have to choose between that and food. There's all kinds of things that he addressed. I did some research before the meeting, and it's through the state attorney's office, I think is who it is, or what I got the information. But one of the things that I looked at before we went to the meeting was, if you get pulled over, if you're a minority, or if you get pulled over if you're white, you're just as likely to be let off either way. The numbers were almost even as far as percentage-wise goes. So I was pretty pleased with that they're not just targeting minorities. It just so happens that minorities sometimes have more financial restraints and such. So one of the things that I think that us as business leaders in this community need to do, and no different than that I do with the city, when we opened up our business, the city what couldn't be more accommodating for everything that we did. And then people, I hear them grumble, oh, the city's so hard to work with. The city's this, the city's that. And I'm like, they're really not. They're really good people. I think it's if you try to do stuff illegally and not get permits and do the stuff you're not supposed to, you're gonna get in trouble. And I think the same thing we should do with our police force. If you hear people that say, oh, you know, Webster's just a bunch of racist police officers and blah, 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 you need to stand up and just say, you know, some of us have met with the chief of police. I think if you met with the chief of police, you would have a different tone. So that was really an enlightening meeting we had, and I was super impressed with Chief Curtis. So, Mark, you have anything to add to that?
No, I agree fully. It was really, I can't say what I expected to walk into, but he definitely exceeded expectations. You know, it was not a lot of just political BS trying to, you know, talk his way around issues. As far as that stat goes that we know is not a bright and shining statistic, while it has improved, it also, when he told us the number of stops that were actually residents, was like in the teens or something. I mean, it was so low that almost makes that statistic just a non, like, doesn't make, it's hard to apply that with the number of stops that were people that weren't Webster residents. So to use the population of Webster to form that statistic doesn't really make sense to me. So obviously they use the same thing across the board, across the state and the country, but definitely skews those numbers or just makes those numbers kind of irrelevant. But yeah, I agree with Ron that, like so many other things, it's a PR thing where I feel like we've been doing these things. It sounds like our police department's been doing these things for a number of years, but the only thing that ever gets pressed is the one bad stop that happened 5 years ago, you know, and then old movies from the 1970s or whatever that has created a, you know, reputation for Webster Groves as a community, and certainly the police force is front and center right now. But I think my personal opinion is we should be talking about in some way, shape, or form. I don't know, all the things that we have done, you know, I think that shows, and I think getting that out, not that it's just our community, but beyond is something to look at how, or to consider, and not have a reputation where people of color don't want to work here or visit here. But and it's good. I know it's been a weird time. Like, we have our diversity committee meeting on Thursday, and Fred is going to come. Dale couldn't make it, but Fred's going to join us and talk to some of our staff. And, you know, I think engaging Fred Bell, I'm assuming he's not on here today, is he?
He's not, no.
But, you know, continuing to engage Fred, that's his job, and, you know, send concerns his way. And it sounds like they're just on top of it and the mentality's not there. And I think Dale was very clear that, you know, he can't see deep into the hearts of every officer he has, but he can have the policies in place and all the structure in place in our police force to make sure that racist actions, racist policing are not part of the game and are being, you know, just not happening. So, or at least not being approved, not being part of how they're policing. And he made it clear that he wants to police and needs to police the way the community wants. So if our community doesn't care about him pulling over somebody for a 2-month-old tag, that's not what they're going to do. If we don't want them pulling someone over for going 32 down Lockwood, that's not what they're going to do. If we don't want them out, you know, they want to police the way our community wants them to police, and they want to focus on the things our community wants them to focus on. And that's good to hear from them, and that they listen to the feedback from the community. So share feedback.
Hey, Ron, this is David Franklin. Is it okay if I say something?
Sure, of course, David.
I appreciate what you and Mark both said there. I just wanted to say, like, one thing that I really appreciate about our police force and Chief Curtis is the fact that they are always looking for improvement. It's a continuous effort for them, and I greatly appreciate that, because despite the understanding of why the numbers are the numbers and everything, there's no doubt that there's always room for improvement. And I appreciate that Chief Curtis is committed to improving those numbers. But I just also wanted to add that the city council is also undertaking a review of our diversity inclusion policies and procedures, and trying to figure out a better way, both as a city and as a city council, that we can move forward on these issues and ensure that there's an inclusive and diverse and welcoming environment throughout the city.
That's great, David. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, anything else from anybody?
I know I have nothing else. I see we now have an additional attendee. I don't know if it's someone who had wanted to speak. We've never had a visitor. So I can see if she wants to speak.
Okay, I'm not seeing it on my board.
It's under attendees. You won't see it
Okay.
on the board because
Okay.
attendees are over. So I'm just gonna quickly just do an allow to talk to see if she needed something.
Okay.
So this is, so let's see, it says Kathy Price. Ms. Price, did you want to say anything for the meeting today? I don't know.
She's
Sure
muted.
on mute. Sure she's
Yeah,
on-
I've done the ask to unmute and she hasn't unmuted.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we haven't had anyone attend any of our tax district meetings that wasn't on the group. And I just wanted to make sure there wasn't something that she was trying to talk with us about, but obviously not. So I'll let you continue.
Okay, the next meeting is the 24th. Is that right before Thanksgiving, I guess? Probably.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Well, we will meet then. Meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
You guys.
Thanks all.
Yep. Have a
Thanks,
great
bye.
days.
Oh, hey, good luck
Yes.
to the Webster
Bye.
softball.
Have a
team.
great month.
Webster High School softball team is in the finals.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What are they playing?
I think they play Friday in Springfield.
Okay.
Yeah, Friday in Springfield at noon. They've never gone this far. This is the
Okay.
farthest they have ever gone.
Cool.
And Mara, is your daughter on there?
No, she's JV.
Oh, Jamie. Okay.
Yeah, she'll be on varsity next year, but yeah, it's a great group of girls. She's super excited for them.
Cool. That's awesome. All right. Okay, guys. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.